Steve Bannon reports to prison, saying, "MAGA army ready." Steve Bannon, a former senior advisor to Donald Trump, told the BBC that he had no fear of going to jail or of having to watch the former president run for office in 2024 while incarcerated. The man who was regarded as the brains behind the scenes at the White House at the beginning of Trump's presidential term in 2017 will go to a federal prison in Connecticut on Monday after being found guilty of contempt of Congress. He is still contesting his conviction for declining to appear before the Legislative Committee, looking into the Trump supporters' attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Bannon has asserted that executive privilege should apply to the discussions he had with the president on that particular day. However, the Supreme Court said last week that Bannon could not postpone his sentence while the appeal was considered, so he will now serve his 4-month sentence. In reference to politics and the Make America Great Again, Maga campaign, he stated in an interview that he has been serving his country for the past 10 or so years by concentrating on this. "It makes no difference at all where I do it if I have to do it in a prison." He claimed he didn't care that he missed a significant portion of Trump's campaign because he knew there was a Maga army out to make sure the former president beat Joe Biden and took back the White House. "I'm all set to go," he declared. "I'm ready to go." Bannon told the BBC that he planned to broadcast one more episode of his right-wing podcast and TV show from outside the prison gates before turning himself in to the authorities, despite the fact that his attempt to postpone his sentence was unsuccessful. Following that, his program, which is referred to as a military command center for MAGA, will continue to air while he is away. He's arranged for all of his usual contributors to present the War Room alongside other hosts. Democrats viewed Bannon, an alt-right media personality and former Goldman Sachs banker, as the driving force behind some of Trump's most controversial policies, as well as his remarkable electoral ascent. As the head of Donald Trump's victorious 2016 presidential campaign, he quickly rose to national fame. Early in the Trump administration, he rose to prominence as the White House top strategist, positioning himself as one of the most influential people in Washington. But after serving in the White House for 7 months, he was let go and drifted away from Trump's close group for a while. As noted by Benjamin Teitelbaum, author of War for Eternity, inside Bannon's far-right circle of global power brokers, most commentators alternate between calling him a mastermind and saying that he's irrelevant, which makes Bannon's character difficult to understand. He's simultaneously both extremes. Meanwhile, Bannon seems to have made his way back into the Trump camp. He has been hosting the War Room for the past 5 years, during which time he has continued to support the former president and his agenda. Inside the War Room, Bannon's real War Room is located on the lower level of a classy townhome on Capitol Hill, not far from the U.S. Supreme Court. There are hardcover books on politics, money, and conspiracies stacked high on every surface. A printed statement that Bannon, who regards himself as a guardian of the MAGA populist cause, came up with, "There are no conspiracies, but there are no coincidences," is stacked on the mantelpiece among various religious imagery. The enormous Project 2025 inches guidebook is proudly displayed in the space. The conservative think tank Heritage Foundation produced a 900-page document outlining specific blueprints for how a second Trump administration would restructure the executive branch and the United States government. We were encircled by the lights, cameras, and microphones that Bannon employs to broadcast for 4 hours on workdays, when he informed me that his show, along with hundreds of other Trump-supporting activists, had been instrumental in inspiring and organizing these street fighters. He said that this MAGA army, which can't and won't stop until final victory, will effortlessly carry out its task even if he will be unable to lead them from prison. Ultimately, he asserted, the populist MAGA movement surpasses both him and Donald Trump. Bannon says it doesn't matter who conveys the message. Bannon persists in his deceptive allegation that Trump was cheated out of the 2020 election. In fact, judges have dismissed numerous lawsuits contesting the outcome, and no proof of pervasive fraud has surfaced. In order to secure the former president's win on Election Day, November 5th, Bannon declared that the Maga army would be prepared to mobilize nationwide at polling places and election tallying. He claimed that these supporters, who include poll observers and attorneys, would contest votes they feel shouldn't go to Joe Biden. Nonetheless, Mr. Teitelbaum expressed skepticism regarding Bannon's ability to mobilize his own audience in the manner he outlined. After incarceration, what happens? Bannon was excited to talk about the former president's plans for when he returns to government and the war room host gets out of jail. Bannon was confident that Trump will win in November. He thinks the concepts he has championed on his show will have an impact on the incoming Trump administration. According to Bannon, immigration is still a major priority. He declared his certainty that Trump will stop the invasion on day one by sealing the border and launching the mass deportation of 10 to 15 million illegal alien invaders. After that, the former president promised he would focus on the economy and keep the tax breaks from his first term, which had primarily helped rich people and businesses. It was unclear how Trump would put an end to the forever wars in Gaza and Ukraine, as he said the Republican would do. Bannon did not hold back when talking about how a Trump government in 2 years would go after its political rivals. Trump has stated openly that, should he be re-elected, he may order the investigation of anyone who, in his opinion, have injured him, particularly those connected to the numerous criminal cases against him. A potential Trump government, according to Bannon, will see the military, law enforcement, and even President Joe Biden brought to account. Despite his accusations that the president was selling out the country, no proof of the president's criminal activity has been shown by the Republican-controlled House of Representatives Oversight Committee looking into these claims, and no impeachment motion has been made. However, Bannon is currently scheduled to serve time in prison. Additionally, he left a dire warning regarding any election outcome that would not declare Trump the winner right before he left. He informed me that Joe Biden's victory in the November election is impossible. Therefore, if the president is re-elected, neither he nor his Maga army will recognize the outcome. In a recent speech to a conservative political convention, he stated that he saw the election as a zero-sum game in which there will be either victory or death for the fervently supportive Trump audience.